Today we pause to remember and honor the victims of the deadliest terror attack in our nation's history.
22 years ago, nearly 3,000 people died in New York, Washington, and in Pennsylvania. Francis Watson joins us live with a first responders account of that day. Francis.
Yeah, Maria, Paul, Nixa police officer Frank Donahue was an NYPD detective 22 years ago. He says he remembers not only the chaos, but the lessons we learned as a country that day. He carries around copies of the first report of the incident made that morning to keep the memory of that day going.
It's kind of scary how fast time passes.
September 11th, 2001, 4 planes were hijacked by terrorists. One crashed into a field in Pennsylvania. Another hit the Pentagon. The other 2 slammed into the World Trade Center in New York City.
It was like a scene from a World War II movie. To me, I felt like, is this going to kill New York?
Officer Frank Donahue with Nixa Police was a New York Police Department detective at the time.
It just kind of broke my heart that those Twin Towers were gone. Because I grew up in Brooklyn, and I remember those things being built, and I remember going in there when they first opened up, you know. So it was kind of a feeling of being devastated that something like this could happen.
That day forever changing his perspective of life.
I remember like leaving my apartment, not knowing what was ahead, kissing my wife goodbye, not knowing, you know, what lied ahead. We had a lot of training. We trained in riot control, and we trained for terrorist attacks, but not to the level like we knew what to do when this happened.
Officer Donahue carries around a copy of the first report of the incident made that morning.
This last line is the one that's really chilling. Thousands of civilians and uniformed personnel are feared injured and dead. You know, so it just kind of shows the gravity of what was going on that day.
And says he hopes the memory of 9/11 is never forgotten.
To steal a phrase from, I guess, Dickens, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times, because the goodwill being poured out to us, to first responders and all, was kind of amazing and very gratifying.
Now, this piece of paper is part of history. I've included a copy in this report, in this article, and on our website and our free news app, so you can read it for yourself. Paul, Maria.
Thank you, Francis. Tonight.